Have you ever noticed yourself starting to crave a place where just taking a deep breath makes life slow down on its own? A place where each month goes by without that tight feeling in your chest from rising costs, bigger bills, and all those small things that slowly pile up into pressure. At this stage of life, a lot of people aren't chasing glamour anymore. What they're really looking for is stability, peace of mind, and a long-term plan they can actually control. That's exactly why this channel exists. Here at Europe on Sale, we don't look for homes that only look good in ads, and we definitely don't sell fairy tale stories like buy this and your life will instantly change. What we do instead is much simpler. We choose properties with information that can be checked: real photos, real surroundings, real details about daily life, services, and connections. In today's video, we're looking at 2 apartments in the Piedmont region of Italy, and both share one thing that might surprise you. They're each priced at 20,000 euros. In a time when housing costs across Europe feel heavier and heavier, that number can feel genuinely breathable, especially if you're working with a limited budget. The first home is in Montoso, Bagnolo Piemonte, a place that really captures the feeling of mountains and seasons. It's a compact home, but with rare advantages for this price range: private outdoor space and a parking spot. It brings to mind quiet mountain days, fresh air, slow walks, and coming home in the evening to a space that feels warm, simple, and private. The second home, in the town of Ceva, tells a slightly different story. It's closer to a small town rhythm, near the center, close to the train station, and very easy to get around from there, even down to the Ligurian coast. So take your time watching today. No pressure, no decisions needed right now. This is just a small journey we're taking together, to look more clearly at a different way of living, and to see whether it fits with the life you're imagining for yourself. And now, let's begin.
Montoso is a small area up on the plateau above Bagnolo Piemonte, and life up here moves very slowly. People aren't pulled around by packed schedules or constant noise. A morning can start with a short walk around the village, cooler air, cleaner light, and nature always close by. On clear days, you can look out and see mountain slopes, winding roads, and a wide open sky. This is the kind of place that suits people who like quiet, who enjoy living with the seasons, and who want a gentle escape from everyday routines. And right in that setting, there's a small apartment with a price that surprises a lot of people: 20,000 euros. What makes it interesting is that it comes with advantages you rarely see at this price level in the mountains. It's a bilocale, about 45 square meters. It has 2 bedrooms, a private garden, a private garage, and a cantina for storage. For people in their later years, sometimes it's exactly these things: a small outdoor space to sit, a few plants to take care of, a guaranteed parking spot, that create a real sense of long-term comfort. The apartment is described as being in decent condition, meaning the basics are not bad. It's on a semi-basement level, so how bright and dry it feels will depend a lot on the real position of the windows, how open the space is, and how well water drains around the building. Heating is independent and uses warm air with GPL gas. This kind of system gives you control, but the warmth can feel uneven, and fuel costs can rise if heat escapes easily. On the positive side, the energy rating is Class E, which is fairly good for a low-priced mountain home. In terms of location and daily needs, Montoso is a small local community. Basic things like a neighborhood grocery are right in the Montoso center. For bigger services, you drive down to Bagnolo Piemonte, about 10 or 11 kilometers away along mountain roads. That's where you'll find supermarkets, pharmacies, schools, and banks. In real life, it usually means a short drive to take care of errands, then back up to a quieter place. Train connections toward Turin generally run through Pinerolo, but from Montoso the trip feels longer because of the mountain descent first. What really adds to the lifestyle value here is what surrounds it. Montoso is close to the Rucas ski area, only a short drive away. In winter, skiing is right there. In summer, the Montoso Rucas area is great for hiking, views, and cool air. For many people, having a small place to change scenery with the seasons without heavy ownership costs is actually a very practical choice. Now, speaking honestly about the finances, the price is 20,000 euros, which works out to roughly 440 euros per square meter. Compared with average prices in Bagnolo Piemonte and the wider Cuneo province, this is clearly lower. That gap creates a safety cushion for the buyer. If you want to improve comfort later, there's still room in the budget. Monthly building fees are also low, around 20 euros, which keeps ongoing costs easy to manage. Of course, with a semi-basement apartment, one thing must be checked carefully: moisture and ventilation. Sometimes simple solutions like a dehumidifier, better airflow, or surface treatment are enough. If moisture comes from deeper structural issues, costs can be higher. Still, when you weigh that against having a private garden, your own garage, low monthly fees, and a buy-in price of 20,000 euros, these risks can be acceptable, as long as you inspect properly and plan ahead. So here's the question worth sitting with for a moment. With a mountain apartment at this price, close to skiing, with outdoor space and private parking, how does that make you feel?
The second apartment takes us to Ceva, a small town, but with a very important location in southwest Piedmont. This is one of those places where trains stop often on the Torino-Savona line. And it also has direct access to the A6 highway, which connects straight up into the mountains or down to the Ligurian coast. So even though Ceva itself isn't a loud tourist town, it's very well connected. People live here because it's practical. You can work, study, or even head to the sea on the weekend in under an hour. In that setting, the second property in today's video is priced at 20,000 euros for a 43 square meter studio, very close to the center of Ceva. This isn't a remote holiday place. It's right where daily life happens. Markets, the train station, hospital, and supermarkets are all within walking distance or just a short drive. The layout is simple. One main living space, a small separate kitchen, and one bathroom. It's on the 4th floor, and there's no elevator. That detail really matters. For a younger person or someone living alone, stairs may not be a big issue. But for older buyers, this is something you need to think about carefully. The apartment is listed as being in good condition and already furnished, which means it can be lived in or rented out right away. That said, the energy rating is Class G, with fairly high energy use. Heating is centralized and runs on gas, and that comes with building fees of around 33 euros per month. Not extreme, but definitely not zero. Where this place really stands out is convenience. A Conad supermarket, central pharmacy, banks, and schools are all right there in Ceva. The main train station is only about 10 minutes on foot, which is great if you don't want to depend entirely on a car. The local hospital is also nearby, which is a big plus when you're thinking about long-term living. One interesting bonus is the day trip to the sea factor. From Ceva, you can take the train or drive down to Savona on the Ligurian coast in about 45 to 50 minutes. That gives you a flexible lifestyle. Live in a mountain town where costs are lower and escape to the sea whenever you want. For a small studio apartment, that actually makes a lot of sense. Now, let's talk numbers honestly. The price is 20,000 euros, which works out to roughly 465 euros per square meter. Average prices in Ceva are already higher than that, and the wider Cuneo province is much higher. So even before looking at the bigger picture, this apartment is clearly below the local average. That gap gives you some breathing room, either to accept higher heating costs or to improve things like windows and insulation later. Of course, there are limits. There's no balcony, no terrace, and light and ventilation depend entirely on the existing windows. Metal or older window frames can cause condensation in winter if airflow isn't good. And the lack of an elevator reduces the pool of future buyers or renters. So this is not a dreamy property. It works best for someone living alone, someone working around Ceva, or someone who wants a very low-cost base between the mountains and the sea. If you're looking for space, comfort, and low running costs all at once, this isn't for everyone. But if your goal is simple, enter the market with very little money, have a place you can actually live in, move around easily, and accept a few compromises, then this apartment is a very clear example of that kind of choice. And just like with the first place, the final question is the same. With 20,000 euros, are you trying to buy a perfect home, or are you buying location and mobility and adjusting more expectations to real life? Today's journey probably started with a feeling we all know very well: curiosity, a small number that makes you stop for a second. But as you keep watching, that feeling slowly changes. It's no longer excitement about a low price. It becomes something calmer, watching how each place actually lives, looking honestly at the condition of the homes, and quietly checking in with yourself about what you're really looking for at this stage of life. And maybe the most important thing to take away from this video isn't which home is cheaper, because both start at the same price. What really matters is a different question. Are you buying just a house, or are you choosing a different way of living? There's a very real difference between owning a home to live in and owning a home that turns into a burden. In many markets, especially where home prices grow faster than income, people buy a small apartment but end up carrying a lot of pressure with it. Monthly payments, constant costs, the feeling of always having to keep up. The options we looked at today aren't perfect, but they point to another direction. living within your means, breathing a little easier, and building a life that actually fits what you can handle. From a practical point of view, the biggest benefit is control. With a low entry price, the pressure drops right from the start. Of course, there are still ongoing costs, living expenses, taxes, utilities, maintenance, but not everyone needs a big home. Many people just want a place that's warm enough, practical enough, and quiet enough to live well over time. And when the purchase price is low, those ongoing costs often feel much more manageable. Now, picture a very ordinary day after everything has settled. A quiet morning. You open the window, make a cup of tea or coffee, and enjoy the calm around you. Some days you walk into town to buy a few things. Other days you take the train or drive out to the sea. And sometimes you just walk around the town, watching local life move at its own pace. Nothing dramatic, just everyday life. And sometimes that's exactly what makes it valuable. So we'd like to end with an open question. If you had to choose just one thing for your second home, what would it be? Peace and quiet? Easy transportation? Or the feeling of financial safety every month? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. We read every one, because often it's your stories that make this journey feel more real than the houses on the screen. Thank you for watching until the end. If this way of looking at things resonates with you, you can subscribe and continue the journey with us. No rush, no unrealistic promises, just opening small doors across Europe and trying to see things a little more clearly and a little more gently.